Got an unknown surface contact.
Ridge, TO, I've got nothing on the scope.
Let's get a team in the rip to investigate this thing.
Over! You're on it!
Copy, sir.
Oh my god. I did it. I totally did it. It is time. Yes, it is time. It is time for another great moment. And what the hell were you thinking? I am back, and I am mad. Okay. What the hell's wrong with Hollywood? I mean, they gotta make a movie out of freaking Battleship. Yes, the Battleship. The one with the little pegs, with the numbers, and you put the little pegs on the grid, and you guess where your opponent's battleship is. That Battleship. Yes, I can feel the hate of a million nerds. And I am one of them. So, this is DecKrash, better known as Brandon, YouTube. I'm back, and I am mad. Okay. Is Hollywood running out of good ideas? I mean, seriously. I mean, they okay. First of all, I put a link down in the doobly-doo of this stupid trailer. You will watch it. So, stop what you're doing, link, then come back. You done? Good. Yes. I can feel the hate rising within you, and it makes me strong, and it makes me angry. I mean, seriously, board games? Board games? Board games? And you know what's the worst? That's not the only one. I heard that they're making a Candyland movie. Not only that, a Monopoly movie. Hollywood can't even freaking get video game movies right. And they're going after Battleship, they're going after board games? Really? Oh, good lord. Okay. Inhale, exhale. And before you join me in a nerd rage. Yes, that came out of me. Okay, let's approach this rationally, alright? I don't think it's that Hollywood's running out of good ideas. I think it's just making some really dumb decisions, okay? I'm gonna kind of go off on a little tangent here. Just a little one. Take video game movies, for example, okay? To my knowledge, really there are only two fairly agreed upon good ones that have ever been made. The first one, most people will agree, the first Mortal Kombat movie. It was done by people, and this is the reason why. It was done by people who appreciated the source material, who respected the source material, and were able to they were able to make the movie recognizable and fun. It was like they were inspired by Enter the Dragon, the old Bruce Lee movie, and they just did it by mixing in a few fantasy bits into it. And when you play the video game, it's a little bit like that. It's like you're playing a Hong Kong kung fu movie, sort of. Okay. And then the movie didn't take itself too seriously, and so it was fun. The premise was ridiculous, but they weren't trying to make it into something really, really, really serious. They had a serious bend, but didn't make it real serious, okay? Now, I want to just say a little bit about another movie that was sort of made out of a fighting movie, Street Fighter. Yeah, bad movie, but not terrible, and still is watchable. It's one of those so bad it's good movies, because, like Mortal Kombat, didn't take itself too seriously, and has some of the best one-liners in Hollywood. But we're here to talk about the good movies. The only other one, and I think that's still kind of debatable, just because I've talked to an equal amount of people who liked the movie and who didn't like it, and that's the Silent Hill movie. From what I saw, and I played some of the Silent Hill games, it was very respectful to the source material. Yes, it took some artistic license, but I don't have a problem with artistic license as long as you don't go overboard with it. And that one didn't look like it was overboard. Plus, I have a friend of mine who likes Silent Hill, and he loved the movie. It's not all that scary. They have a few parts that are pretty creepy, but it did well with what it was using. Blah. Now, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. No other video game-based movies were good by any stretch of the imagination, except maybe the Resident Evil movies. I like the first one and maybe the most recent one. But yeah, that's a whole other flame war there, and I'm not gonna go there. And the problem is that the ideas are all being given to hack directors who don't know about video games, that are like Uwe Boll, and I'm not going to go into him because that's a totally different conversation again. They don't know how to they don't know how to direct. They don't know how to treat the source material well. They know very little about video games. I mean, seriously. I mean, and then also they'll take over a movie and turn it into a travesty, like the second Mortal Kombat movie was. That movie didn't have to be bad. But of course, Hollywood ended up getting his grubby little mitts on it and turning it into something else. If I'm wrong, please let me know down there. Just keep it civil, as always. But anyway, another thing. Any and all potential good combinations of director and potential video game movies have been scrapped. I'm looking at you, Halo. Yes, when we received word that Peter Jackson would be producing and Neil Blomkamp would be directing the Halo movie, I mean, that was a match made in heaven. And then it was dropped. Yeah, really good, Hollywood, using some of the best directors to make a movie out of a video game that has one of the best and most epic storylines, and you just drop it. Seriously. But speaking of Halo, another problem with video games is just that some don't translate well into movies. Look at Mario Brothers. Good idea on paper, bad idea in execution. And really, I don't think, no matter what anyone else says, I don't think that Mario Brothers would make a very good live-action movie. And it's not just because of the abortion of a movie that it was made into. It's just that the video game is like some freebaser's trippy dream. Seriously, you can turn off the video game music and play Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. And the game will probably make a little bit more sense. I'm not trying to say Mario Brothers is a bad game. I like it. I'm just saying that it doesn't translate well into a movie. And that's the problem. Because this makes me actually glad that Hollywood has not taken some of the real top-tier video games and tried to make them into movies. You know, like Zelda or Metroid. I'm kind of glad they haven't made anything out of that. Because we all know what they did with Final Fantasy. Ugh. Now, but I digress greatly. Let's bring it back to Battleship. Okay? Hollywood, I'm talking to you. If you can't do video games which actually have relatable characters and workable plots, then how on God's green earth are you going to do board games which have neither of those? No plot, no characterization. It's just a game you play on a board. It has a premise, yes. But I mean, really? You're really scraping the bottom of the barrel for that? Oh, Lord. I mean, how are you going to make a decent movie out of that? I mean, we know Hollywood's not running out of good ideas. But it sure is not doing much for their reputation. I mean, look, my advice for Hollywood is just to work more with video game movies and make them into a respectable genre. And here's the reason why. It took years, and I do mean years, to figure out the formula to make a good movie based off of comic books. Some of you who are my age, in your 30-somethings, yes, I'm telling you my age. Yes, I am old. We know that back in the 80s, there were a few attempts at making a superhero movie, and they were all terrible. They had one little Fantastic Four movie out there that never saw the light of day. And, well, I saw a review of it off of that guy with the glasses.com. Oh, good Lord, you don't want to watch that. And then there was the Captain America, not the most recent Captain America movie, which I heard was really awesome. I haven't seen it yet, and I will see it. But there was an old Captain America movie, which is god-awful. Oh, Lord. It took over 30 years from the only good comic book movie to come out in that time, back in 79, Superman. And even Hollywood did not understand that it took a director who had respect for the source material and writers who were going to treat the source material well. And even then, Hollywood didn't understand that. The last two Superman movies, Superman 3 and 4, were just horrible hack jobs. Donner, the guy who directed it, didn't even stay on. So it took Hollywood 30 years to realize that you need to to make a good movie based off a comic book, you need to give it to people who understand the source material and who are going to work well with it. Who are going to be respectful to it. Hollywood needs to figure that out for video games, and thus far they have not. They've been giving them to hack directors and have been just mistreating, who don't know a thing about the video game, and have been mistreating the source material. And until Hollywood can do that, until Hollywood can make decent video games with directors and writers that have that respect and that understanding of the source material, then they need to keep their hands off of board games. But of course, this is Hollywood, okay? Are they gonna learn? Well, if they can do it, if they can do it with comic books, then maybe in about 30 years they'll be doing it with video games. I mean, but until then, doing board game movies, that's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. That's just waiting to be cooked. Like I said, we are talking about an industry that took 30 years from the lesson Richard Donner taught with Superman. But maybe I'll be wrong and see something better come out in a few years. Maybe we're just waiting for that magic video game based movie that really shows Hollywood how it's done. But then again, this is Hollywood. That's about it for today. I will be back with some more epic stupid. Mark my words. So until then, this is DecKrash, better known as Brandon, saying, ignorance is fleeting, stupidity is forever. Take care.